All right, guys, what's going on? We are down here at Alumicraft, bringing you guys something special today. We're gonna walk in the shop and check out this pretty cool car that's over here. So let's see what we got over here. Something a little different with this car. We got some axles in the front. Who do we have here? What's going on?
This is John from Alumicraft, and what you see here is our new all-wheel drive Class 1 car.
All right, all-wheel drive Class 1 car. Something we haven't seen before. Show you guys, give you guys a quick little camera thing. Used to it too. This is what we're gonna look at today. Seen that? It's been a while since we've seen that. This is a buggy. So, why did you guys want to do this?
Well, we actually had an Australian customer years ago approach us to build them a Class 1 car, all-wheel drive, and we started, designing it on the drawing board, and in the meantime, we built them a couple Class 1 cars, and then we had interest over here with RPI Racing, and so we put RPI in front of the line and kind of redesigned the car a little bit for racing here in the States, and what you see here is what the outcome is.
All right, right on. So we're gonna just do a little walk around this. Can you hear me okay? Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let's see if this the audio. How's the audio working for you guys? Let me set this up. Let me try on 1 second here. All right. Is that any better, guys? Let me know if the audio is better now. Let's keep walking around this thing. Let's see if the audio is better. You guys hear a little better now? We got a couple second delay here, and we'll see if it works better. Yeah, the internet here is a little bit sketchy, so we will be doing this. I will upload this after we're done. So if it's a little bit scratchy now, I'll upload it in HD after we're done, and then it'll look a little better for you guys. So let's go back to the front here, and we'll start up here. So as you guys notice, like we said, this is an all-wheel drive Class 1 car. Now, how does it actually how does it work? Is the front actually driving the whole time, or is it selectable, or how much is driving to the front versus the rear? How does that work?
Well, that's going to be a question for James Lynn here, but we're going to start with an Albin's transaxle with a front drive with a clutch assembly activated by air to a Albin's front diff. That's really the brains of it. As far as how it unlocks, it can do about anything, and those are some crazy questions that even we have for James Lynn.
Yeah.
And we'll find out obviously when we dyno it and when we first test it.
Cool, very good. So one of the other questions that a lot of people had was, how are the Class 1 cars are usually lighter in the front, so in order to get it to turn, did you guys try to put as much weight to the front of the car as you could to get more, keep the front end down to be able to turn better? Yes,
I mean, we put as much weight in the front. We moved the fuel cells farther forward. We put about as much weight as we can in the front. As you see in the pictures, there's not much room for much else in the front.
Yep.
And it's still rear engine, so there's only so much we can do. But we're happy with the weight bias. It's better than a two-wheel drive Class 1 car by far. So once we get testing and figure out what our parameters are, we'll know pretty quick on how it's going to be, bias-wise.
Yeah. Very cool. So you guys can see what we're talking about. They have quite a bit of stuff up front. You got the batteries up front, of course. Try to get as much weight up here as you can. You got there's a look at the bulkhead here, and then into the cab. They have so some people always ask what these are. These are the tire pressure monitor systems, right?
Yes.
The little boxes on the arm there.
Yes.
So that is fully. You can check out and see what exactly is going on in the tires at all times, just by one of the screens on the dash here. So definitely pretty cool. Do you know what the weight distribution is about?
Yeah, weight distribution right now is about 65% rear, 35% front.
All right, so 65% rear, 35% front. That is the weight distribution right now. Now, one thing I did see when I was looking in here, this is pretty cool. You guys can see this on the throttle pedal. These are drive-by-wire, and sometimes you'll have a problem with them, but look what they did. They put 2. So how's that work? If one of the sensors goes out, you just switch to the other one?
You just switch it over.
Very cool. That's a pretty cool addition. You don't really see on too many cars. So pretty cool to see that. Then looking at the inside, we have, what do we have for as the camera goes crazy again. What do we have for engine management on this one? It looks like a Motec system.
Yes, it's Motec. and we have a couple of Motec dash displays.
Yep.
We have Motec PDMs.
Okay.
There's 2 PDMs on board with 2 keypads.
Very cool. Now the shifter here, this is a sequential. What is the transmission in here?
It's an Alumn 6-speed, and it's that's just a standard Alumn shifter with potentiometer for no lift shift.
Okay, so they have the no lift shift. So if you guys aren't familiar with that, I know it's pretty much exactly what it says. You don't lift, you just shift, right?
Yes.
So as fast as you can shift, it'll shift.
Just don't let off and just pull back.
Don't let off, all right. So then working our way back, we have quite a bit in here. How big, see we got the cell back here. How big of a fuel cell is it? What do you guys think the range will?
Well,
hard to tell so far, but.
There's 2 fuel cells,
Okay.
42 gallons each.
Okay.
And the range, we estimate the mileage on this car to be probably around 2.5 to 3. So, the range should be around 200, would be comfortable.
All right, so definitely a Baja setup car.
Yes.
You can definitely make it between pits, no problem down there. One of the other cool things I saw was the actuators on the lights. So if you guys can see, it looks like the top light bar, pretty trick setup there. It'll focus on it. Let's see, there it is. And then the front lights are actually on actuators also, huh?
Yes.
So
That's a design from Everson Performance.
very cool.
The front light bar double actuator is a prototype. That's the only one in existence right now.
Yeah.
The upper one is one that I actually produce and sell.
Cool. So for some of you guys that are wondering why would you need to adjust these lights, well, it depends on how fast you're going. The front of this car could either be pointed like it is right now, or if you're doing 100 miles an hour, the front of this car is going to be up about 5 or 6 inches higher probably. So you're going to want the lights to come down then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, at high speeds, and that when you're off and on the gas, the lights are going to be wanting to, venture up and down. So you just want to be able to fine tune that.
Very cool. Definitely one of the other cool things we noticed on this car. Now the other thing, it's kind of hard to see, but the seat mount. I know you guys posted some pictures of this before, but if you can see this slider, it's a very, very trick slider. It's kind of hidden in there. What did you guys do on the seat mount on this car?
Well, the seat had to adjust 6 inches forward and 3 inches up. So we had to make a seat slider on a roller system with 2 actuators. It was pretty important to have both drivers, have the comfort and drivability. And so it took a little work to design up a seat adjuster, but it works very well and it's very strong.
Very cool. Another little trick piece going on in this car. Also, you can see up top they have the sun visors. A lot of people have been running those now. Those definitely come in handy down there. And then I did see there is I noticed a rear view camera on the back up in there. We can probably talk to James Lynn a little bit about that. So moving a little bit towards the back, what do we have here? This looks like a very large motor back here. This looks like a big block.
Yeah, it's an Adam Wick big block Chevy. It should put out 840, 860 to the dyno, on the engine dyno, and that was pretty mild. So we imagine to the wheels. We'll know on Tuesday when we dyno what that's going to be.
There you go. All right. So big block in Class 1 car. Then in front of it here, you can see the transaxle here. This is all the Albins, like was mentioned before. Look down here. Look at the rear axles. What are the CVs that are in here?
Yeah, so these are Series 30. They're the biggest CV joints in the market.
Okay.
It's all Pro-Am hubs, axles, and then we use bare brakes.
Okay. So that's a look at the drive there. Now up top here we have the PCI MSAT, very important, especially down in Baja. It's pretty cool. You can talk to people literally back at your house while you're in the race car in the middle of Baja if you want. It's a cool addition. And they did fire this thing up a little bit ago and it definitely sounds pretty good. My favorite part is this thing right here, this oil pump. That's a nice looking oil pump there. Where'd you guys get that from? That's a daily pump on there. I was probably built that a couple weeks ago whenever you guys got the motor. Also, let's see, so for the jack system, is this the jack system?
Yes, it's the Bernholzer jack.
Okay. So we don't have the no air jacks or anything like that on here. We're sticking with the tried and true.
Yes.
Very good. So that actually saves some weight on the car too.
Well, we would kind of be out of room if you wanted to run a hydraulic jack. So
yeah.
The room in this car became pretty scarce towards the end. There's a lot of packaging on this car was very critical. Wasn't a lot of room once we started. It's got tier cleaners on here that are typically we use one on a Class 1 car. This has 2. This throttle body puts out 2150 CFM, so we needed to match up air cleaners to match up what the throttle body can suck in.
All right. Yeah, so that definitely took up some room up here. So is this actually what in this intake right here?
Yes.
Okay, so you guys can see that. It's in
And
there.
you can see the air intake on the air cleaners up there.
And there's the air intake up here. Yeah, those are some massive air cleaners there. Very cool. So, where is James? We want to hear more about this drive system. Here he is. Look at this guy. Where did you come from?
How are you guys?
All right. So for those of you guys that don't know, this is James Lynn. He does pretty much all the programming on all the high-end stuff nowadays. What did you do on this car? What is very cool about this car? How does the drive work? Is it locked all the time? Is it open? How does this thing work?
So a few options. They can run it truly based on mechanical, or they can run it on. We can probably go to the display and show you guys.
Yep.
So on here, they'll kind of tell you the state of what it is. So in this case now, it's on all-wheel drive mechanical, which means that the air is being constantly fed into the front diff and locking down all-wheel drive at all times. They have another mode that they can run in, which is all-wheel drive with computer control, and we can do things like when simply diving into a corner, chopping off the throttle aggressively, shut the front drive off, or at higher speed we can simply shut the front drive off, so to get a little bit more top speed from not having the additional driveline loss. And or we can do it simply based on coming out on corner, based on driver preference, based on wheel slip, engaging the front diff. We can also do that as well, or they can just run on rear-wheel drive if they want.
So they do have the ability to just shut off the front if they want in here,
Yeah.
and just run it on the rear wheel.
Yeah, so they can run it on all-wheel drive live, all-wheel drive with a computer, or rear-wheel drive by itself.
Very cool. So 3 different modes they can basically run it on there. Now, what else do you have on here? As far as he said, the no lift shift. That's something that you program in there.
Yeah. So with the shifter, it measures in compression and compression and intention of the shifter.
Yep.
So with that, it does automatic grip when you do a downshift, or you do a cut when you do a kind of upshift pull. And so that way you don't have to grip the throttle. Pretty much you can do no lift downshift as well. If you're pulling up a hill, simply pull the motor down, and where you got just push down one gear.
Yep.
You simply just keep your foot on the throttle and just do a light pop. And on here, there's a few pages that kind of give us a little bit more information in regards to the shifter.
Okay.
So this shows like the raw position of the voltage of the barrel internally on the transmission, and you can see the force of the shifter. So just push it on, we can get.
Yeah, you can see it moving there. Yep.
Yeah. So a good solid shift would take anywhere from 140 pounds of force or more to engage a good shift.
Okay.
And so the car is pre-wired with like paddles in the future as well. So if they do decide that in the low endurance race it would be easier, then simply the paddle could be an option.
Yeah. And then I did see something else you had. Was this one where you can go to reverse without shutting it off, or no?
This one you actually could. So you could. So instead of doing a paddle would be a little bit easier. So in this case, if you're not just in this case, if you're pushing on the barrel, what you'll do is you'll lower down the engine speed. And once the engine speed are being lowered down, it's a lot easier to take it out of the gear and go into reverse. So that is a possibility there.
Very cool. Anything else special that you had on this one?
I think for the most part, we just gotta go out to the desert and just pray with the all-wheel drive programming.
Yeah.
Just speak out the state of where he likes it to be, and and see where it, take it from there.
So like you were saying, if on this system electronically, if you're coming into a corner and you let off, it'll actually take off some of the front wheel drive so that it won't kind of pull you into the corner if you don't want to be pulled into the corner until you get back on the gas, basically.
Yeah. So right now it's programmed on the automatic mode. When you chop out the throttle abruptly, it does disengage front diff.
It disengages the front diff.
So it allows you to kind of just slide into the corner, and once you kind of get more like neutralized steering feel mid-corner when you're about to pick back on the throttle.
Yeah.
So depending on X amount of slip, it can engage the front. So that number can be played with. So call it if it's anywhere from no wheel slip to 20-30% wheel slip before it engages the front diff.
Yeah, and then you can change that depending on the driving style that they like.
Yeah.
Well, that's very cool. Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of cars out there that you can do that with right now. So I think that's one of the cool new advances in technology that you guys are putting into this car here. It'll definitely be cool to see how that works.
I think get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It doesn't like sometimes like if it's not going to overdrive the whole time, it may just feel like you're understeer in all the tight corners. So with this, it kind of gives us the ability to where not lose any advantage to the rear-wheel drives.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. Well, thank you for explaining how that works. Now let's talk a little bit to the guy whose car this is here. You got to get over here. You got to come on here a little bit. E3, you get over here, guys. So this is your guys' car here.
Yes, sir.
All right. So I have to ask, because everyone has to ask, why did you guys build this and not a truck?
We're buggy dorks.
They're buggy dorks. All right. So I think this is the coolest buggy dork car that I've ever seen personally. What do you guys think about it so far? I know it just fired up for the first time a little bit ago, but what do you guys think?
I'm getting excited.
Getting excited?
I'm getting excited. Let's get it in the dirt.
You guys ready to get it in the dirt?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of car, especially coming from Class 10, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what it can do, and Alumicraft has built a phenomenal car. Quite frankly, it's a work of art.
Yeah, it definitely is a work of art. I don't think we've seen, I've never seen, like I said, a Class 1 car that is this technical. You know, back in the day, there was some other ones that were all drive, maybe, you know, Nye Frank and stuff like that, but it was basic, honestly, compared to looking at this thing. So, what made you guys want to build a all-wheel drive Class 1 car?
Well, first of all, Daniel Foltz is really good at spending our money, so that was his idea. But anyways, hope you're watching, Daniel. We lost our Class 1 car that we had last year, and we wanted to keep Mom racing, and John had come up with this concept, and then we had a couple ideas, and he worked with his design to incorporate what we would like to see, and just thought that this may give us somewhat of a competitive advantage in the Class 1.
Yeah, I definitely think it will. You know, like we were talking about earlier, when you come into the silt sections, it's going to be nice to have these front wheels pulling, and if you got to jump out of the two-track and get around stuck you know, trophy truck country clubber that's in your way, you'll be able to just you know, hopefully go right around them or something. They probably won't be very happy about that, but we'll see, huh?
Well, we've seen the Razors doing it a lot. They're seeing it a lot in log jams, so the four-wheel drive seems to be an advantage in that case.
Yeah, it seems like that's the way that you know, everybody's kind of going nowadays. So what do you guys have? You guys have plans to build more of these? Is this going into production, or was this a one-off car?
No.
What do you guys think?
We have another car that chassis just came off the fixture today, so we have car number 2 on its way.
All right, so there's at least going to be 2 of these in existence so far.
Yes.
All right, so everybody wants to know, it's obviously not, it's a little bit less than a trophy truck that would be all-wheel drive. Is that a correct assumption?
I would say this car is probably less than a 2-wheel drive trophy truck.
Less than a 2-wheel drive trophy truck. All right, so there you go. If you guys want a buggy that's very cool, and you don't want to, you know, go all the way out with a close to $1 million trophy truck, you can get this for less than a 2-wheel drive trophy truck. Just call them up and order one. How long, if somebody calls up right now, how long till they can have one?
We probably wouldn't be able to start one for probably about 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
And the build time is 4 to 5 months.
So less than a year.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not bad. All right. So I did notice that you guys, while we have you here, what's this thing real quick? Somebody noticed this back here. This looks like this doesn't look like a buggy dork mobile back here.
No, this is a 6100 spec.
Oh, 6100 spec at Alumicraft. Look at that. I saw a couple of you guys notice that. Well, that's pretty cool. New project also?
It's a new project. You know, we built, this is our 4th one, so we build one a year amongst, you know, Class 10s and pre-runners and Class 1s. I mean, I think we built 6 Class 1 cars in the past 2 years, 2-wheel drive Class 1 cars. And we have a couple more on the other side of the shop that we're building right now. So, you know, all aspects of racing, we're building everything.
Right on. Well, you want to bring the guys over here that helped you build this? And I don't know, some people wanted you to fire it up. What do you guys think? You guys want to fire it up?
Let them fire it up. Yeah, there you go.
Why don't you bring the guys over here that worked on it so you can see who builds this thing. These guys want to hear it run for a minute. All right, Mr. James Lynn is in there. He's gonna fire it up for us. It runs. Sounds pretty good. What do you guys think? Is this the crew?
Yeah. So
you want to introduce them real quick?
Yeah. So this is Brian. And this is Brian Scarborough, Matt Majors, Nick Tiedemann.
Oh, yeah.
So Matt's been with me for 21 years. Brian's been with me for 14 years. These two guys here are really the heart of the company. Brian runs the fab side of the shop. He's the one that built this car. He did probably 90% of all the work and fab on it. Matt is part of the assembly and prep here. To go from just a chassis to a finished product, this is what Matt does.
Very
and
cool.
Matt has 2 or 3 guys that also help him. So, you know, this can't be done without a team. And these 2 guys, we have 5 other guys that already left, but they're all part of a team here, and we accomplish great things. And it can't be done for us or the customers without them.
Yeah, it's very cool to see the people that are behind all these, because everybody sees these things at the track, or they see them in the middle of Baja somewhere, but you don't normally see the guys that build them.
No.
So it's cool to see who builds it, and give everybody a little bit of credit. So thanks for letting us to come down and check out this awesome car. It'll be pretty cool to see it there.
Real quick thing.
Yeah, we got one other
We're
thing
talking
here.
about the guys that we're doing it. I got a list of people that we'd like to thank that were all involved in this. First,
Yeah,
Alumicraft, John, Grindle, Brian, Matt, Dave Foltz Trans, Adam at Wix Racing on the motor, of course BF Goodrich Tires on the 40s, Raceline Wheels did a brand new forged Rhino for this car with a 6-inch backspace to accommodate the all-wheel drive. Baja Designs, the leaders in light technology, scientists of lighting. Bear Brakes out of Phoenix, Arizona, some great brakes for this car. Weddell Industries for the interfacing with Albans. Chuck Cheek at CMI had done a good job for us. Roy at Pro-Am really helped a lot on this car. Lucas Oil, Everson Performance on the lighting adjustment. Of course, James Lynn Motorsports. Can't do anything without James Lynn. TRH Wiring, Nick Tiedemann. Craig at Hall Designs is behind the scenes all the time. Reed Products Inc., our company. RPI Racing Hardware, all the bolts on this. Our team, and then of course Straight Edge Paint, which will be done next week. Sign Pros and Fishgistics.
right on. Well, yeah, it sounds like you got a lot of the top guys in the sport on this car, and I think it's definitely going to show. So when are you guys when is everyone going to see this thing? You guys said you're testing next week. Maybe when's it going to race?
San Felipe.
San Felipe.
First race.
All right, so we're going straight into the whoops with it.
So run it backwards again this year.
Actually, I heard they might not be as whooped this year, just so you guys know. Little tidbit there. Z-Road and everything, it's not going to be what you think it is. There you go. You guys will see what I'm talking about later.
It's going to be Blade in the Mexico.
Maybe.
I didn't say
Maybe.
that on Fishgistics.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much does it for us here. Once again, thanks to everybody here, Alumicraft, for letting us come down and check out this car. And we can't wait to see this thing in the dirt. We'll see you guys in San Felipe.